The ring forward roll is a demonstration of strength and control, mastery and understanding your weight distribution through a complete 360-degree rotation around the rings. Yes, you can do tuck forward rolls, but notice the speed and the drop, which are positions if slowed down could not be controlled. At the end of the day, rings exemplifies strength and grace, not ruthless aggression. And this is how the forward roll achieves that. A quick heads up, it was Yannick who really helped me with this breakthrough, and I've got to give credit where it's due. Okay, prerequisite for the forward roll is a muscle up. It is just the perfect movement to learn the importance of constant downward pressure to maintain position, not to mention the muscle up is needed to complete the move. Of course, stepping back from muscle up is requirements in basic pulling strength, but we won't be getting into those in this video. I do plan to do a revised version of my muscle up tutorial, but in the meantime, you can check out this one. I also have a playlist dedicated to all things muscle up where I'm sure you'll find some gems. Performing the forward roll, we start from a support position with ring turnout and we initiate the movement by leaning the shoulders forward and down whilst pushing the hips back and keeping them low. Keep supination with the rings and aim to touch the rings together as if creating a bar or reference point for the hips to rotate around. As this is happening, our shoulders are continuing to lower in front of the rings and our hips are staying low but gradually progressing forwards over the rings. Once our shoulders have lowered below the hands, our target is to now get underneath the rings. We should have already started doing this, but now we really need to emphasize tucking our chin in and staying as compressed as possible in our pike. This is the hardest part. If you can get through this without falling hard or losing distance between yourself and the rings, the final step is your muscle up to finish in the dip. Press to support and you've just completed your forward roll. Common mistakes with the forward roll are not maintaining constant downward pressure on the rings, so you either fall through the rings or are too far from them when it's time to muscle up and the strength to recover your position is too much, or it's technically just not executed well, like the equivalent of a chicken wing muscle up. You did it, but it's ideally not meant to look like that. To combat this, we utilize the downward pressure. It does change from an initial push as you begin to lower, leaning forward and start to sneak under the rings, and then evolves into a pull as you get under the rings. Another mistake I see is when the push results in a pressing of the hips into a version of a shoulder stand. With the hips that high, there will be an eventual drop in the hips as they move over the rings, which equates to losing control. Remember, we push the hips back as we initiate, and we want them to stay low and progress over the rings, not press them up high above the rings. This next mistake somewhat relates to the last one, and it's when we keep the hips low, but we get stuck trying to make the movement happen. This is again where we're not effectively utilizing constant downward pressure to continually progress the hips forward. Remember that pushing is not a press, but if you find yourself stuck, you might also be confusing your push with just isometric tension, which is again not producing downward pressure. I found that this is the trickiest concept to grasp in the forward roll. You want that downward pressure to be the vehicle that moves the hips forward. Once you can forward roll, you can progress this concept to both the straight body forward roll as well as the backward roll. Both strength skills build on the principles learned from the forward roll, so serve as some exciting and natural progressions. Give it all a go, let me know how you go. I want to see some of your attempts.